How clean that plane is. Look at the lights just bounce right off of it.
That's
You were right.
I tell you, it's incredible.
And he will very gingerly park it there.
You can see the Pope in the window. He's just below between the letters R and A.
The crowd right now is really beginning to go wild.
Clear the traffic, American 222.
First time ever, the Pope in Chicago.
And this is the third visit for this man to Chicago, but as Jim mentioned, the first time that a Pope has been here.
Crowds weren't so big the last two.
No.
No, we could have had an interview last time.
Easily.
Should have. Don't you wish now?
Don't you wish, yeah.
Jim and Chuck, I don't know if you can hear it in the background with all the airplane noise, but the Suzuki violins have now started. The gangway is just about up to the door. Crowds are crashing into each other, trying to get closer to the boundaries to get a look at the Pope. These are very cold fingers playing.
What is the crowd? Maybe 25 yards from the plane?
Yeah, I would say between 25 and 40 yards away from the plane. And they are at least 30 deep in most places.
Is that Bach?
Sounds like one.
Sounds like it.
Sometimes the type of light violin music reminds you of Haydn or Mozart, too. But the tempo sounds like a Bach piece. I should know it.
Great honor for the kids, too, to be able to take part in this and remember it for the rest of their lives.
And they, you should notice, they don't have jackets on or sweaters out there.
They don't.
Kids are just
bare arms.
Yeah, bare arms.
One of these Suzuki children told me earlier that they were hoping that because the Pope is known to love children, that he would come up and talk to them about their playing, talk to them about anything. These kids have amazing stamina, too, because they've just been freezing out here in their little white dresses.
Well, he'll come up to them.
Older violinists probably couldn't hack that tonight. Well, they were remarkable, beautiful, beautiful kids.
The door is open now of Shepherd 1.
There's Monsignor Marcinkus, Archbishop Marcinkus.
Yes.
First one down.
Paul Marcinkus, a Cicero boy who went on to become the head of the Vatican Bank and also head of security for the
Cardinal's going up the stairs.
Is that Cardinal Cody going?
Yes, going upstairs.
Imagine these are security people coming off first.
Oh, flight attendant.
Well, and you have various officers, people who work in the Vatican who have jobs to do along.
Well, the number 2 man, Cardinal Casaroli, the Secretary of State, is with him. He's part of the official party in every city. I imagine he would be the second one out after the Pope.
You can see the back of Cardinal Cody in the plane in the view that you have right there. Talking to a stewardess. We still have not seen the Pope's face yet. Cardinal Cody now going into the plane. Crowd here is really pretty quiet. It's amazing. They're just standing still, waiting to catch a glimpse.
Not only the pilot, Jim, but that flight crew, the whole crew must really have had a remarkable experience in this.
It's an honor they shall never forget, I'm sure. It's just incredible.
I often wonder how it is for a Polish Pope to be working with so many Italians. I think of Fellini movies sometimes.
Well, fortunately, he's so multilingual, he can talk to anybody.
Oh, he studied there for 4 years. He knows Italian well.
His speech he made the day of his election.
Acceptance, right.
When he accepted asked him to correct his Italian if he made any mistakes, but he seems to
Like he
handle
did with Skyscraper yesterday. That's a marvelous ability he has, though. This is one of the reasons why I think he comes across when he speaks in the language of the people that he's visiting.
You know, that is one of the few mispronunciations he has made in English that I've heard. He's very slow and deliberate in his speech, but he doesn't make errors. He has an accent, but it's not really an error.
He's an Irishman with him. There he is.
Here comes the Pope now. Excuse me, the Pope has just moved into the entryway of the plane. You can't see him now. He's being shielded by the man in the foreground. But the
He's a
Pope is
Kodan, I noticed.
But the Pope is in the doorway now.
I do believe he spoke to the pilots.
It looked like where he was going, up to the cockpit.
There he
He does have a coat.
His white coat on.
One can't blame him.
The crowds here at the military side of O'Hare have ended their silence. They're waving, they're cheering, and they're calling out to him. You can't hear the Suzuki violins any longer.
Two small children there.
Presenting flowers. There's Archbishop Marcinkus right in front of him.
We've seen this scene repeated in every city, in Boston, in New York, in Philadelphia, and now here, the Pope with the children. It's become his trademark. He's most affectionate, most warm, and most open to the children.
Here's Governor Thompson shaking.
His size tells you
standing
who he
next to him,
is.
yeah.
Governor Thompson and Bishop Marcinkus have something in common in their size.
They stand out, don't they? They both have their backs to the camera as you look at your screen.
More children in the crew.
I imagine Mayor Byrne must be in there.
Of course, it's deceptive. Again, we should point out the way these lenses flatten out perspective and make things look a lot closer than they are. That's some distance from the plane, as Carol mentioned a while ago, 25 to 40 yards, she said, that the people would be standing. And the depth of field sort of is squeezed, and you get the impression that things are much closer than they are.
It's interesting here, the dignitaries who you all see clustered around the Pope are clustered in much the same way the crowd is behind them. Even they, who are so accustomed to important people, are trying to get a close look, say a word, greet the Pope in some way.
Fascinating to watch Bishop Marcinkus, too, the way he's ever busy. His eyes aren't stopping at all as he looks around.
Sort of leading interference. That's Bishop Nevin Hayes talking to him now. It looked like George Dunn in the background there. I saw the side of his head.
We have very small monitors we're trying to look at.
That's George Dunn, yes,
Yes.
indeed, directly behind Bishop Marcinkus. The Suzuki violin still plays.
Play,
Unfortunately, everybody is crowding around, blocking our view somewhat.
Some limousines have just pulled up, and what is becoming known as the Pope Mobile has just pulled up too. It's a different one than we saw in New York. A black Cadillac that the Pope apparently is going to ride in. It's an open car. All of those limousines, the open car and security cars, are now pulling up in front of that line of dignitaries that you see, pulling up between the people here and the officials on the other side.
I'd like to make a bet he'll come over to those violins.
If he sees them.
Yes.
The problem is now with so many people around him. I think you're right, though, Father.
Well, especially we have a Movich on the left.
Yes.
He'll tell you. He heard the music.
The Pope is approaching.
Wonderful.
The Pope is now walking up to two very small children. You can't see them, they're sort of lost in the crowd. At least it looked that way. They were standing there. He's walking up now to where the Suzuki children are playing.
That's good.
That ought to stop the music.
Well, they're going to play right through.
Now that is discipline.
I mean,
Yes.
there's
No, the
Mayor Byrne there.
temptation to stop playing.
There's Mayor Byrne right behind him.
This is the largest airport Pope has received. He started this tour in Boston earlier this week.
He's going to direct in a moment.
It's quite a sight down here, listening to these people and watching them watch the Pope, watch the children.
Mayor Byrne is just glowing.
You see,
over
somebody
there.
brought a dog just behind Mayor Byrne's head. Every now and then you see a small dog.
There's
Pope is
Archbishop
getting his
Marcinkus getting
instructions
instruction. He's not moving, though.
He's going to stay and listen.
Well, that's why his schedule is run the way it has, I gather, is that he takes these breaks like this.
Oh, he likes music.
Now they stop.
He's talking.
This is a marvelous shot that you can't quite see from here, but the Pope embracing the small children who were playing for him. They're now clustered all around him, touching him.
We have the shot, Carol. It is beautiful.
There's Bishop Hayes at the right side of the screen.
Bishop Marcinkus is sort of tugging at the Pope's coattails, trying to get him back on schedule, if there is such a thing any longer. The bishop has regularly performed this job.
One little girl put her violin down and has a camera trying to take a picture, and I'm afraid she won't get it. What a moment.
Pope is now moving to the closed car. He may be traveling in that for a while before he starts on his motorcade route. It's awfully breezy to be riding around in an open car.
As far as we know, that is still the plan, that he ride in the open car, is it not?
Yes, it still is the plan, and the open car is obviously here and ready. The security men are now getting into it. But what they may do, I'm not sure about this, but what they may do is put the Pope in the covered limousine until he gets out of this area and into the more open area. I'm not sure. He's standing there now talking with Bishop Marcinkus, Cardinal Cody, some of the other archbishops and bishops.
I think those are all bishops from the other dioceses within Illinois. Usually bishops outside the province would not come at this point because they leave the honors to the local bishops.
Well, he is seated in the closed car, Carol, it appears.
Yes. Yes, he's gotten into the car now. I see a lot of looks of relief from the security people and Chicago police here. They have this frightened look on their face because the crowd keeps pushing closer and closer. They're trying to keep their eyes on everything and keep people as far away from the Pope as they can, or at least the press of the crowd.
Carol, was this crowd at the airport by invitation? You said there was about 2,000 people. Was this a select gathering?
Not exactly. It was a very general kind of invitation. There were passes issued. I'm told that many of these people hail from the military, that they are in some way connected to the military side of O'Hare by their profession or their families of military professionals. And there were passes that people were being admitted by that would say admit 6 or admit 10.
Well, it's starting to move out now.
It's starting to move out. Security is all around it. They're picking up speed.
Stick with us. We do have an occasional little problem with the picture, but we're sure it'll stay live.
There's that banner we were talking about.
I can't make it out from here. Can you, Chuck?
Even if I could make it out, I couldn't tell you what it said. But as we mentioned, there's a lot of those across the overpasses on the expressway as well.
I'll tell you what is the most frequently carried thing is a kind of what you would call a banner, the type of banner that you could buy at Cubs Park or at Sox Park. And on it, it says, the Pope's visit to Chicago, 1979. It says Pope John Paul II, of course, has a portrait. This, I believe, is the lead car of the motorcade. If it, yes, there are other cars behind it. If it does as is expected, listen to this crowd. If it does as expected, it will stop up here so that the top to the car may be open.
2,000 flash bulbs being expended this evening.
Just a few. Doesn't look like it's going to stop, does it?
Maybe here.
Don't believe so.
You didn't break anything, did you?
Thank you.
Well, the motorcade moving on, is it not, Paul? It doesn't appear to be stopping for anything.
Well, I think what we see here are the police cars and the press cars. There are two busloads of police, and then an entire busload of press. But the black Cadillac limousine that went by, did not stop and did not have the top rolled back. And this crowd here is very, very disappointed.
I'm sure.
You better believe it. Did you hear that?
Was the interior illuminated so you could? Cardinal Cody was in there with the Pope as they left the airport. Could you make out either of them?
No, their conversation as well as their physical presence went unnoticed by this crowd because, as you know, some of those limousines have glass on them, and that glass prohibited a view of the pontiff. But we know that the motorcade is heading down Nagel now, and will be moving on to Milwaukee.
No question, it went by all too quickly for those folks.
These folks are very disappointed.
Well, it's too bad that the time and the weather and everything conspired against their hopes.
I think that might have something to do with it, Jim.
Also, as Jim Tillman just pointed out, security is in the dark. And when this was originally planned, and it'd be light and all that, that's one thing. At night, although everybody that we would know of out there is all right, they are charged with the safety and the protection of that man, and what a responsibility that is. So they probably simply prevailed upon him not to come out there in the dark of the evening where nobody could adequately protect him.
The next time that we will see the motorcade will be in about 2 minutes' time right now as we shut down one unit. We'll pick up the next one about 2 minutes down on Milwaukee Avenue.
Dick? Okay, can you hear us? Well,
He will in a moment.
wait a minute. There's
Jim and Chuck, I hear you now. We had a little audio problem there. The lead car, I think, of the motorcade, probably the advance car, is just turned the corner from Nagel onto Milwaukee Avenue and is now heading south. It looks like a station wagon. It could be the Secret Service advance car, as we said. The people all along Milwaukee Avenue have been lighting candles and are holding candles in preparation for the Pontiff's motorcade. They, too, certainly would be disappointed, to say the least, if the top of the limousine were not opened and the Pontiff did not appear, or they did not get a close glimpse of him. The candles were passed out several hours earlier. They've been standing, holding them, just waiting for this moment. This is the Secret Service advance wagon coming along Milwaukee Avenue. We are directly across the street, as we said earlier, from Roman Puczynski's headquarters in the 41st Ward. Alderman Puczynski has been leading the people along Milwaukee Avenue in Polish songs, and the Shannon Rovers have been playing the pipes. They have been singing Stolat. They plan to sing that for the Pope, I'm told, and for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. There is a police car now turning the corner, and preceding the limousine should be a flatbed truck. Yes, there's the flatbed truck, and that should be the press flatbed truck for photographers covering the Pontiff's motorcade.
They do travel in style.
On flatbed trucks, indeed they do. But these people have been very, very patient. Jim Tillman, it feels much colder on this rooftop on Milwaukee Avenue than 51 degrees.
It is a lot colder than 51 degrees, Dick. It is right now 46 degrees where you are.
I thought so.
And the temperatures are falling. It's going to be very uncomfortable out there. I'm sure that has something to do with the decision to open up that automobile tonight. It's a major consideration.
There are spotlights playing all along the avenue from our vantage point. You will probably get a look at them later.
Dick, this may be the papal car.
It may indeed, Jim. I was just trying to see from my vantage point.
It's the one with the blinking lights between the two police cars and the...
I believe it's the one with the flags, just now rounding the corner.
There we go, that's right.
Well, now they're stopping, and the Secret Service is getting out to run alongside the car. And they've opened the top, and there's the Pontiff. He is going to get out in that chilly air.
And hundreds of thousands of people surge forward.
We're singing Stolat, May He Live for 1,000 years.
Service people have to really be in shape.
Good job here.
Oh, this is great.
That's fantastic. Flowers.
They're close.
They really are. They've moved right off the sidewalk down into the streets.
John Paul II, an incredible scene along Milwaukee Avenue, showering the Pontiff's car with flowers, singing Stolat. People are still surging forward. The motorcade is now heading south on Milwaukee Avenue, and Linda, it should be coming your way in just a moment or two. Can you see the motorcade?
Not quite yet, Dick, although the anticipation is building up here. The people down on the street have been calling and asking me because they have seen our lights, asking how far away. I told them where it was, and the excitement is building. As you said, those flowers that they are tossing, people are carrying flowers here also. I think we're going to see the same thing happen. A couple of lead cars, police cars, had come down the street a little while ago. The people got so excited they started applauding the police cars even, because I think they were hoping that what that meant was that the Pope's entourage would begin to come down here very shortly.
Linda?
So there is a great deal of anticipation. Yes.
Linda, there seems to be a great surging of people across the street there.
They are beginning to move out into the street. They've had a warning several times to please stay on the sidewalk. The police officers are going to be hard-pressed to try to get them to stay.
It won't work. It won't work. We've already seen that in that last appearance of the Pope, the community that Dick Kay was reporting from. They simply come off the street, and the Secret Service agents have to resort to the stiff arm as they run alongside the papal car.
Very definitely. These police officers, you can see an awful lot of them. In fact, I was just talking to some of them, and men who normally are not even in uniform have been called into duty and are in uniform right now.
Here it comes.
I see, here it comes. And you can hear the crowd up there begin to react to this. Like everyone else, these people have been waiting for so long. Right where we are is in the flight path of O'Hare. So these people have had this kind of growing anticipation because through the evening as the planes have gone over, they keep asking me, is that him? I think you can hear them and you can see them coming out into the street already.
So much for instructions.
Yes. What are you going to do?
The police officer said to me, there's no way we're going to allow these people off the sidewalk. I don't think you can stop this kind of enthusiasm as you saw in Ireland, Jim.
Well, this community is deeply in love with this man, and they're not going to be denied.
The officers actually were spaced just a few feet apart, but that seemed to be enough at first, but now even that doesn't seem to be enough.
I noticed that photographer's truck, which had been rolling alongside, had to pull in behind somebody. Now they're trying to swing out again, but not having too much success.
At least there's one thing, Jim, if you'll notice, you can say there is an orderliness to the disorderliness. Everyone is coming out into the middle of the street, but being relatively calm about it until the Pope's car comes right by. But what they want is a feeling of closeness with this man, I think. They want to be able to cheer him. They want to really be able to see him.
Now, can you see him, Carol, standing there? He's standing...
Not quite.
He's standing...
He's just coming. He's a little too far from me.
I'm sorry. I said Carol. It's Linda. We can see him from this point, standing in the car.
Someone has just released all kinds of balloons into the air.
There are flowers we can see being flung down on the roof of the car. Streamers. And those well-conditioned Secret Service men.
They're desperately trying to get the people to stay away.
They can wave their arms all night, but the people aren't going to back off.
I don't know if you just heard the instruction to the officers to face the crowd. They're trying to pull them back. And here he comes right beneath our camera.
The policeman turned to take a look too.
So now you'd like to have the flashbulb concession.
And the motorcade has just turned off Milwaukee. They are pulling up to the Copernicus Center here at the Gateway Theater.
The Hejna Mariacki, the traditional trumpet call, is playing. The police escort vehicles, and I see the Holy Father. He'll be pulling up, possibly stopping. Will he stop is the question right now, and obviously he is not. There's the Holy Father, Polonia's favorite son, Ojca Świętego, going by the Copernicus Cultural Center. And I don't have to tell you, there are thousands and thousands of very disappointed people here.
Well, they shouldn't be as disappointed as some of the others who didn't get to see him standing up in the car. It's very difficult with this kind of schedule and all those things we talked about. And certainly, I think on reflection, they won't be as disappointed as they might be at the moment. They at least were there, they did see him, and then they have the opportunity for tomorrow.
Jim,
yes.
Jim, they've just broken into the traditional song, wishing him 100 years of life anyway. 100 lat, 100 lat, nie żyje nam. So obviously the disappointment is not as profound as we might think. They're still looking forward to the Five Holy Martyrs Mass tomorrow morning, and of course the Grant Park Mass tomorrow afternoon. But the motorcade is going by the Copernicus Cultural Center.